King Wladyslaw III's final charge at Varna. At only 20 years old, King Wladyslaw III of Poland and Hungary led the Crusader army to the shores of the Black Sea, renowned for his youthful courage. His choice to fight from the front lines earned him the nickname Night King among his advisors. On the 10th of November 1444, near the port city of Varna, the Christian coalition clashed with the mighty Ottoman forces under Sultan Murad II. The battle began favorably for the Crusaders as their heavy cavalry broke through the Ottoman wings, forcing many soldiers to retreat. Victory seemed within reach, yet the young king abandoned his secure position on the hill and made a fateful decision. With about 500 knights, he charged directly into the Ottoman center. At first, the assault shattered the Janissary lines, and witnesses claimed Wladyslaw came within striking distance of the Sultan himself. But the bold maneuver quickly turned into a deadly trap. Hidden Ottoman reserves surged forward, encircling the small Crusader force. Horses fell under arrows and spears. Formations collapsed, and the king fought desperately against overwhelming numbers. Suddenly, his wounded horse reared, throwing him to the ground. Surrounded by Janissaries, Wladyslaw was overcome. His death marked the collapse of the Crusader momentum, as the Ottomans displayed the dramatic outcome to demoralize their enemies.
The doomed defense of the Theodosian walls, the moment when courage clashed with fate. Emperor Constantine X7, Palaiologos foresaw what was to come. Sultan Mehmed II's vast Ottoman army had besieged Constantinople for 53 days. The once mighty Byzantine Empire had shrunk to little more than the city itself. At 48 years old, Constantine stood as the last emperor of a 1,000-year dynasty. Against more than 80,000 Ottoman soldiers, he had only about 7,000 defenders at his side. On the 29th of May 1453, the final assault began. The Ottoman army battered the Theodosian walls for weeks with massive cannons. Some of these bronze monsters could hurl stone projectiles weighing more than 317 kilograms, around 700 pounds. Sections of the walls, which had stood firm for centuries, crumbled under the relentless bombardment. At dawn, on the final day, the breaches were wide enough for Ottoman troops to pour into the city. Constantine spent the night praying in Hagia Sophia, the grandest cathedral of Christendom. At first light, he donned his armor and rode toward the walls. The noise was deafening. Thousands of Janissaries, the Sultan's elite troops, surged forward in relentless waves. The defenders fought desperately, pouring boiling oil on the attackers and pushing back the scaling ladders. For hours, the emperor moved along the defense lines, encouraging his men. Near the St. Romanus Gate, where the fighting was fiercest, Constantine received word that the Ottomans had discovered an unlocked side passage and had already entered the city. The defense was collapsing. When Emperor Constantine realized the city had fallen, he removed the imperial insignia and took up his sword. The last Byzantine ruler charged into the ranks of the Janissaries, fought bravely, and perished as the walls collapsed. The last stand of Visby's farmers, 1361. The summer sun scorched the fields of Gotland as a storm approached. King Valdemar IV of Denmark, known as Atada, the New Dawn, landed with a force of 2,000 professional soldiers. Gleaming knights in full armor, disciplined infantry, and deadly crossbowmen, the very pinnacle of medieval warfare. Inside the thick stone walls of Visby, merchants and craftsmen sought safety, but beyond those walls, the farmers of Gotland chose a different path. That morning, nearly 2,000 peasants gathered outside the city. Their weapons were crude, hunting spears, wood-cutting axes, scythes, flails, and wooden pitchforks. Most wore nothing more than leather vests. They were not soldiers, only men determined to defend their land. By noon, fate revealed itself. The crossbowmen struck first. Steel-tipped bolts darkened the sky and tore into the ragged lines of farmers. Chests were pierced, throats ripped open, and cries of agony echoed across the fields. Those who survived the storm of arrows soon faced the thunder of heavy cavalry. Armored horses shook the earth as knights lowered their lances. Ribs shattered, bodies impaled. Even those who threw down their weapons found no mercy. In less than an hour, it was over. The ground outside Visby was carpeted with corpses. Blood seeped into the summer soil. A handful of survivors fled into the forests. Behind the walls, the citizens of Visby watched in horror as more than 1,800 of their countrymen lay dead or dying beneath the blazing sun. That day, the farmers of Gotland left behind a grim lesson. Courage alone cannot withstand steel and discipline.